Dr. Lara here today. I hope you're doing well. I got a really good message on my walk today, and it was just like blaring at me. So the message is, there is a solution to every problem. I'm like, oh, okay, you're talking to me, right? But I think that, it goes for everybody. Just to realize that when you're faced with a certain situation, a certain problem, that there is a solution. Somewhere in that problem is a solution. But what happens when we're faced with a challenge or a problem is that we get worried about it. We are in fear, okay, because we don't know what's going to happen. So a way to work out of that is to write down what your fear is. Okay, because when you get in touch with what your fear is, it lets go of the worry. Because when we come from fear, then we get into this panic and this worry, and it keeps us in this like cesspool of worry. And we are always focused on the problem. But when you write down, and I'm saying write this down, not just think about it, and I'll explain why later, but write down what your fear is, and then write down like what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if that happens? And then you go through it and you say, okay, if this happens, will I be okay? And then you're like, oh, well, yeah, I guess I'll survive that. Because that's what keeps us paralyzed in fear, is because we don't think we're going to be okay. All right. So when you write down your fear and then you look at it and you say, okay, well, if this happens, will I be okay? It takes that energy away from that power of the fear that's like swirling around in your head, and it kind of like drains out. Energetically, it drains out when you write it down. If you're thinking about it in your head, it's very hard to get clarity on it because, our minds go a mile a minute and we're off on another tangent. But when you write it down, it keeps it focused and you get clear on what it is that you're thinking. So after you write down your fear and you say, okay, you know what, I think I'll be okay if that happens, it drains it out, and then it creates a space for you to find a solution. Because when you are not in that state of panic, when you're not in that state of fear or worry, it opens up the possibilities for solutions to come through. And when you write down something like, what if this happens? Another thing that happens, your mind starts to work out, okay, well, how can I get this so it won't happen? Or what can I do in case this happens? And then your mind goes into problem solving mode rather than fear. So I know it's a short, sweet message, but hey, those are sometimes the best ones. So just remember, there's a solution to every problem, and life is always working out for your highest good. Always, always. So I hope that helps. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thanks so much for listening.